Hey guys, welcome. This is the Toys of the Time Gone By, and my name is Mark, and I'm your host. Now, today we are going to talk about, as you see in my background here, the Masters of the Universe movie figures that came out. And I would like to introduce a friend of mine named Joe to the stream. Oh, here he is. Welcome, Joe. This is my special guest here. And Joe is from the Half Hour of Power podcast and YouTube channel. And he reviews movies. I suggest you guys go over there and check him out. He's really good at what he does. So what's up, Joe? How is your day going?
How's good, Mark? Thanks for having me on.
Oh, you're welcome, Joe. I want to ask you a question. What do you feel was your first introduction to Masters of the Universe toys?
I was definitely through the cartoon. You watch that cartoon. I remember getting home from school and watching that cartoon. And then, of course, the commercials would be for the toys. So I feel like every kid at that age that watched that cartoon wanted those toys, and I wanted those toys.
Well, yeah, that's amazing stuff. Like when you were a kid, that basically was a big commercial. It was a commercial for selling toys. You remember they used to say that it was commercial for
I do. They used to say that, but I didn't care then. I liked playing with the toys. I liked creating my own adventures with the toys, and I don't care now. They're great toys.
Me too. I feel they're great toys, and I still collect them, and I still collect a lot of the vintage ones. And now, on our episode today, we want to talk about the toys that were produced from the movie. So, Have you seen the movie?
Absolutely. You and I and Jesse talked about that movie on our podcast.
Yes, we did. Yes,
you came on over and you talked to us about that. Yeah,
we did, and it was a great podcast. And I feel like everybody should go over there and listen to that podcast that we did because it was really good. And like I said to everybody, if you guys are watching me today, I think you guys should go over and check them out. A Half Hour Power, and go check out the YouTube channel. Definitely good stuff. So what I wanted to bring up here was a little showing people the toys that actually came out for the movie. So I'm going to bring that up over here. You could see that, right?
Absolutely.
So you see that. Now, this is Gwildor, which you know who played Gwildor. You know who that was, right?
Yeah.
Tell everybody who that was.
You tell us.
Billy Barty.
That's right.
That was great. So we had
Mark. You just say his name better than I do.
Billy Barty.
Yes. I had that one.
So, you did have this.
Did have Gwildor, yeah.
Ah, cool. I do have Gwildor, and I do have him with his time weapon. Can you see him here?
Yes.
Cool, right? I do have him.
He was cool.
He's awesome, man. So now you have Gwildor, you had Blade, and some people say that Blade, you can see Blade here, and I do have Blade.
You do?
I want to show everybody I do have Blade.
Oh, cool.
And Blade was basically what they were saying was Blade was basically they're trying to say because he's the weapon specialist, so he was kind of like the what Triclops is. This is what they were trying to say, that instead of they wanted to introduce new characters to the line, and Mattel was like, "Yeah, man, you're gonna make three new characters for us to to make toys." Definitely, because they wanted to sell toys, so that was great for them. And then one of the pretty cool ones was this one over here. You can see here he's like the bronzy color one with the tail. His name was Sarad.
Yeah.
And I do have Sarad here. And you know, huh?
You have him too.
Yes.
Nice.
And his play feature was kind of like the, you remember those toy guns that would, you would hit the button, and you would hit the trigger and it would spark.
Yes.
That's what his play feature is.
Wow.
He sparks. So you got the 3 ones that were produced for the vintage line back in '87, right? So let's move down. I'll show you here. We'll move past it. So it even says right here, Mattel obviously wanted to profit from the movie by releasing these 3 figures with the new characters created for the movie. And a little thing here, because in the movie we did talk about that, the cosmic key, and it created like these portals.
Yes.
The movie there. The first figure was Gwildor. And basically creation of Gwildor was because of Orko. He was like a comic relief. So they couldn't do Orko because back then they had that budget. And they just couldn't do that kind of special.
That is true also. But do you remember that one of the things we discovered, we talked about it on the movie show we did, was that they didn't have the rights to the cartoon characters. Yes. They had the rights to the comic book or just the action figures.
So that was like, yeah.
And you remember we had, you and Jesse and I had a discussion about Orko. Was Orko created specifically for the cartoon, or was he before that? You remember that?
Yes, he was created for the cartoon. Yep.
So then that would mean, and we were trying to figure out where was the line, and we couldn't find anything. I still really haven't found anything. Somewhere someone will write about it at some point. I just haven't found it. But
yeah, me either.
Where because the fellow, this shame on me. Oh man, I should remember his name. That's Preston, I believe. He bought the rights to it before the cartoon hit big and before the cartoon even hit. Do you remember that? And it was like he was the producer of Conan the Barbarian. And
are you talking about the Filmation guy? You're telling that the guy who created all this stuff.
Oh no, I'm talking about. He produced The Crow also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about. Let me find. Here it is. And so, Edward Pressman.
Yes.
Edward R. Pressman. He did it. He bought the rights, and he bought the rights to not the cartoon, but to the figures before the cartoon. Which was like, wow, I didn't know that, because we had a discussion about that. If you go to watch the movie and you think it's based on the cartoon, it's not based on the cartoon. It's
no.
So Orko shouldn't even be considered to be in the movie. But we didn't know that as kids, did we?
No, we didn't know. We were looking for Orko. We were looking for Battle Cat. You know what I mean? We didn't.
Even now, people probably don't realize that. They go back and go, oh, they did make a Masters of the Universe movie. Let's watch it. And they go, well, how come this and how come that? Like, well, that wasn't based on the cartoon. That was a fun discovery. It led to some pretty good discussion we had on this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was really interesting. And that we talked about the movie and we went into details that way. The figures, however, they could have done more figures, I feel, because there was, I felt like if they made these 3 figures, like you had Gwildor, and if they made these 3, they could have done the other figures. There was Beastman in there. They could have did a movie Beastman. They could have did a movie Skeletor, because as you know, they were very different and a movie He-Man, as you know, they had some different paint applications. They had
Yep.
some different looks to them, and they could have done that. Although later, like after the movie, they did do a laser light He-Man with a Dolph Lundgren type looking face. They
Yeah.
did that, and a more mechanical type Skeletor, which had the kind of, which I felt like they kind of like, kind of like took a bit from the inspiration from the movie a little bit, with the laser light Skeletor with the cape, kind of like. And here, now going back to the other figure here, we have Blade. He's like the weapons guy, and you probably remember him. He was the stuntman in the movie too.
Yeah.
So he was, and he also played the another part, and I can't remember, but he's pretty cool. And the actual swords that he uses, like those swords are always lost. And this piece here that I'm pointing to, the like loincloth in the front,
Yes.
never is normally lost. So these actually, just the swords itself and maybe the loincloth picture, I get, a pretty penny. You will find them for a lot of money if you're looking for these. The figure itself, yeah, he fetches some money, but not as much as if you can't find the weapons. So I don't have the weapons nor the loincloth.
Oh.
So if I had those, he would be worth like $100 and something bucks, with that. So he had these swords.
Not bad.
And he's a pretty impressive looking figure for the time. He was very different than the other figures that we had, the other He-Man molds that we had, which they kind of used, for different figures, made different colors and all that. But he's pretty cool, mechanical looking dude. And then you had Sarad. He's like a reptilian bounty. Now he was another cool figure. His helmet came off. He sparked. His weapon is a very expensive thing to try to find too. So if you try to look for him complete, you're talking about over $100 for just him complete. The weapon itself, you're talking about $40 for just a weapon. If you want to find the weapon there, but he's pretty cool, and he's a different mold than the other figures. Also, a different mold than Gwildor and a different mold than Blade, as you can see here.
Yes.
So he's pretty much the third figure that we got here. So talking about that, I'm coming up to the up-to-date Super 7 type of figures I'd like to show you, you guys, and show you that what we had was, you could see here, look how cool Skeletor looks. And this is Karg. His name is Karg. But as you can see, imagine they made him a vintage figure back then. Look, he had a white skull face. He had the hood. And the funniest thing to me about it is if you look at the images, you could see his eyes.
Yeah.
His eyeballs inside, because I don't think they could have done at that time, if they would have done it now, it would be different.
Yeah, he would, Skeletor would definitely look different if they made the movie now. Because you look at that and you know that's a face mask, that's face pieces.
Yeah,
and I think we discussed that a little bit on my show. That I think Skeletor looks good for what they did. I think Skeletor looks good. I think Frank Langella was really good. And if they had just made his eyes black, just these to make it look like it's just a hollow skull.
Yeah.
But overall, I think Frank Langella looks really good.
He looks amazing. He's a Bayonne native.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. But he looks amazing, man. And you know why he did that, and you know why he did it, why he
Yeah,
did the role. He didn't want to
absolutely.
do it, but you know why he did it.
You want to tell everybody?
I'm going to tell you, he did it for his son. His son loved Masters of the Universe, so that's why he did it.
Mm-hmm.
So now you see here, Super 7 created these, and he couldn't. Super 7 couldn't use the movie name. He could not use it. They could not use They didn't have the rights to use the movie name,
Mm.
Super 7. What they did is they made they used the drawings of the guy who created the drawings for the movie, like Skeletor, Karg. I spoke the name before, correct, but it was Karg.
Mm.
So he kind of took the drawings from the guy. Super 7 was able to use the drawings. So that's why they were able to use to make these figures, not because the movie, because they didn't have the rights to it. But they did talk to the guy who created the drawings. So now we'll go down here and talk about this a little. So as you can see, these two figures here, they did not create for the vintage line. And what's really interesting is this guy here, Karg. He was killed off like in the very, very beginning of the movie. So I guess they thought, why make a figure of him? You know what I mean? Like, why even bother to do it? You know, so now let's go back down here and we'll show you a little bit of the card art here and the mailer. So this is what we got, and over here it tells you it doesn't even call it. He's the Dark Despot Skeletor, and you got Commander Karg here, and there's a little synopsis about each of them over here. Look at that. I mean, really, Super 7 did an amazing job with the face sculpt on this guy. I mean, he has a cloak. I mean, you could see how far, the toy industry has come, I think, with the way these figures looked. What do you think?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think of versus vintage to now? Like, what do you think about what the toy industry is doing now versus then?
Well, how much would something like this run today?
Well, today, this figure, since it's an older figure, this figure's fetching definitely over $100, $100 and something, $150. That's how much this figure's fetching.
I am not that familiar with these Super 7 figures. What? How much were they brand new?
Well,
when they first came out.
Well, when they first came out, you're talking about probably about $40, $45, $40 for these figures.
Yeah, so I really think the original line, the original run of the toys looks really, really good, but these are like collectors, right? These are for us kids when we grew up.
Yeah,
right?
That's what they're for.
So,
yeah.
I mean, I do kind of wonder what would this figure have looked like if it came out back then. But, I mean, those He-Man, and I know you've talked about this, those original He-Man toys were big. They were durable.
Oh, yeah.
Somewhat posable, but we didn't care. We wanted them to fight each other.
Yeah, we just want to throw them around, right?
But yeah, I mean, these are very nice for the adult collector who wants to, relive that. I think that's what these are made for, right?
That's what they're made for.
Yeah. I mean, they're really great. I would have really have loved to have had a figure like that. But yeah, I mean, the kids that grew, you and me, we grew up playing with the original line. It's nice to see a more detailed figure of them.
Yeah.
as an adult, and you can kind of have them. Yeah.
But they'll run you quite a penny. You know what I mean? These
Yeah.
new figures start running. But if you look at the vintage Gwildor, he looks really good. They did some really good sculpt on him, man.
I did like him, yeah.
And a lot of people didn't like him.
Yeah.
So we'll go past Karg here. You can see he came with a couple of weapons and things like that.
Yeah.
There's actually different variation of him here that they sold.
Wow.
Look at this, man. Look at this, bro. This face is just a man.
Yeah, that is cool.
That is an amazing Skeletor face. He's not the traditional yellow, greenish face, Skeletor's face. But I guess for the movie, they want to make him look, I guess, a little more realistic.
Kind of the way he looked in the movie?
Well, that's what I mean. In the movie, they made the drawings that they made him look a little more realistic for the movie. But these are from the drawings itself.
Yeah,
but he still looks like Franklin.
Looks good. Yeah, I mean, if I didn't know that and you just showed me that picture, that's what I would say. I was like, hey, isn't that a Franklin toy from the He-Man movie? Yeah.
But look at this.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good. Wow.
It's amazing. Look at this sculpt. It's all these the capes and the robe that he's wearing, all these things. And this figure, like I said, they're going to go for over $100 and something now.
Yes.
You if you find these, you'll find the figures on eBay, and they're way expensive. You want all of them, but you could see all the attention to detail here with these figures.
Yeah.
You could definitely, and then there's also, look at the staff, man.
Oh, that is a cool staff.
Wow. Like they did some job on that. But let's go down here because this is a comparison. And you look at that.
Oh, wow.
Boy, oh boy, man, that's the classics. And this is the classics. This is the Filmation classic version. And this is the classic version that came out. And this is the movie version. So you could see the face in the classic Filmation version. It looks like the Filmation face cartoon.
Yes.
And the classic version actually looks like the face from the toy. And so is some of the details,
Wow, yeah.
And here are all the four together. You could see Sarad.
Yeah.
Karg, Blade. I mean, it's
wow.
Beautiful, right? They're beautiful figures. They're really beautiful figures. But there's also more. There is actually a Skeletor God one, a God Skeletor one. Remember in the movie with the God Skeletor one? He was a gold one.
Oh yes.
The movie that was the God Skeletor. They also produced a God Skeletor. So and they produced a Gwildor figure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on the back here and a He-Man figure. So I'm going to click this. So you could see the large figure here. This is the He-Man. I don't know if you could see that too well over here. This is the He-Man figure, and then you had the God Skeletor over here. But they also produced, like I said, a Gwildor figure. So the Gwildor figure was pretty cool too. So I'm gonna try to find the Gwildor figure for you too. So this way I wanted everybody to look at the Gwildor figure and see what how he looked. This way you can compare it, to the older figure, and you could compare them together. And actually, the He-Man figure also. You could compare that too. This way you get an idea of what the figure. So I'm going to share this tab with everybody. Now, look at the Gwildor figure, man.
Wow.
Isn't that is crazy, man? That is an unbelievable looking figure, man. That's what they gave. They gave you the cosmic key. They gave a staff to him, and that's the figure that you get. You know, with the
That's cool.
That's a cool looking figure. So, and then there's the He-Man movie He-Man figure that I'm going to show you too, which the same thing. He looks like Dolph Lundgren. You know, he does look like Dolph Lundgren in the movie, but like I said, it's from the drawings. It is from the drawings, but he does definitely look like Dolph Lundgren. But like I said, and I'm gonna show you the when I share this tab. So you're gonna see here. That looks. He
Wow.
looks like Dolph Lundgren. Look at the price on that, man. $159.95.
Yeah, that's very good.
Look at that, man. Look at this. Incredible looking figure. That's the ones that we didn't get.
Wow, that is a good figure.
I mean, those are the ones that we did not get. And the comparison, like I said, the comparison to that Gwildor and the one I showed you, you know?
Yeah.
That picture when I showed you the Gwildor one. Really, you know what I mean? You really are like, you can't compare with the. I always will. I love the vintage stuff.
Yeah.
I always will be a vintage person. I always will love vintage toys. But like I said, you cannot compare with. To me, because I grew with it, you grew up with it. You can't. You really can't like. The way they're doing sculpting now is totally different than the way they did it back then.
Yeah.
The sculpting back then, a lot of it is now. Back then, it was more of mechanical sculpting, mechanicals. Yeah. Now, today, it's more of they use the computers to make figures and make them look nice, and then they do the sculpting and all that stuff, and it's more of a digital form now.
Yeah.
So what do you like? I don't know, like what do you think of the 3 figures that we got?
They were fine. Like I said, I only had one. I didn't have the other 2, so I never really saw them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even remember those figures.
You don't remember the other ones?
I don't. But just looking at the pictures, like I probably would have liked those figures also. But I mean, like we were talking about,
yeah,
those were made for kids to play with, right?
Yeah, they were made those. That's
and
why they
made
them big and bulky.
We just kind of look at the difference of, like that Skeletor you showed me. Those were made for us as adults.
Definitely. They're definitely.
It would have been cool to have those figures that look like that as a kid. I would have liked those too.
Like people, I've heard people say that Masters of the Universe were like huge Fisher Price toys that you could just like throw down the steps and like bang around, and they never they always stood up to the. You see them today; they always stood up.
Oh yes,
at the time, man.
Yes, I mean we were rough on those toys. We would rip the arms off. We did. Me and my brother did things. You cut the arm off. Like they never did that in the cartoon, but those figures, you could take the arm off and snap it back on and fight another day, and we did stuff like we got into like lipstick and nail polish. Like we want them to bleed, and we would like rip their arm off and put blood on them right there.
It's
You
like,
know, we would do, and we're, other people have to have done this. We would switch like Man at arms with He-Man's arms, and
I that
put
was great,
Skeletor's
right?
arms on somebody else's arms, and stuff like that. It was fun.
Well, the new figures that are out, the Origins line, really stepped up that creativity with snapping arms on and off, hands on and off, heads. Like my He-Man here that I have.
Yeah.
Right? You just go, oh.
Oh yeah. So I don't remember the original.
Oh my
Did
arm.
the original run of figures? Could you rip their heads off that easy?
No,
I don't remember.
You
Okay.
can't. These are meant.
That's nice. You rip their heads off, and
these are meant even the bottom part. Like you see the part here.
Yeah.
Oh,
cut He-Man in half. You need to get that ketchup. You pour some ketchup on him. That'll probably come off better than nail polish.
Let me tell you, man. They did such a good job with the figures now, man. And it's such a shame if you think about it. I wish, like when we were kids, we had those kind of figures where you pull everything off and you just snap them back on again.
Yes.
Because that would make the playability of the figure, like the playability of Masters of the Universe figures was amazing. You could do pretty much anything you want to, throw them around, fight Skeletor, big cat, like you can, use them in the castle, and the castle had a lot of play features. But like, these figures now, I just am glad to see that kids are embracing these new figures that were, brought back to life since we were kids.
Oh,
and that's the one thing that I love and enjoy. But like now going back to the movie stuff, and I do want to end this off now because we did talk about the three figures and the figures that I think they should have brought to the vintage line, but they didn't, which was Karg, the He-Man and the Skeletor, the different variation. I guess that's the fact they didn't want to make another He-Man, make another Skeletor. But honestly, it's just amazing to me that they gave us, Super 7 gave us those figures. They released those figures later on, and they released some beautiful figures that they did. And I just wanted to end this with saying thank you, Joe, for being on, and everybody, please go to his channel. Like I said, it's the half-hour power. I'm going to flash it on a screen for you guys. There you go. It's the half-hour power. His name is Joe. Check him out. And we're going to be doing some live streams here. But I wanted to thank you, Joe, for coming on the show and being with us. Thanks again, Joe. Yep. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And remember, guys, smash that subscribe button, like button, comment, tell all your friends, and we will come back at you with another video. Thanks, guys.